Is this a group that will respond to that?
Absolutely, they have, and that's one thing that I will say. And you guys saw I took that timeout right there after that second series, and it was just to bring them over because I've seen that before, right? And it's not, listen, because I see myself in a partnership with media, and I want you to understand what I mean when I'm saying something about an opponent, because like if I say, "Hey, they're trash." The reason why I'll say that is because so much hype can be placed upon a team, or so much hype can be placed upon a player, where a team can start to really believe that. And that's what we've experienced, right? After every game, if you're in that locker room, it's like, we let another one get away. Well, when I hear that, that tells me that you thought the opponent, although I was telling, and I've built up credibility with you guys, although I've proved to you time and time again that you can play, sometimes you still, when you get away from me, there are still little things that kind of seep into your mind, and it makes you believe something other than what it is. So, like, my role, and the reason why I said I'm going to be more involved with the defense and just the suggestions and everything, has been to be 100% mental leader and mind shaper, because the mentality has been different. Right. And I think when you look at a head coach, look at the mentality, not just at the top, but look at the mentality of those who are also around. Those are the best teams. And those are the players that want to play, for that coach, because he's mentally tough. He's strong and he's educated, and he's never going to put us in a vulnerable situation. He's only going to put us in situations to where we can be successful. So when you ask the question, will they do that? Will they go out? They have not mentally checked out. Now, can I speak for all of them? I haven't met with all of them yet, because I asked for all of them to meet with me just so we can go through sort of a psych eval and see where they are mentally, right? And just kind of see and just kind of talk where we are, and let's be realistic in what their plan is and what their goals are. But I don't think that there's going to be one player on this team that you're going to see not mentally engaged and going to give their 100% effort. Now, what you do see is you see frustration. And again, I always say this, it's a good level of frustration because, again, you see the Stanford game, and they know what the outcome should have been. But just be honest, going into that game, talking amongst each other, some of the players, who knows, are they giving themselves a chance? And that idle talk can be very, very dangerous, right? And you never know what it does to the subconscious. And then it'll manifest itself at the worst time. Right. And so you saw me take that time out to go ahead and stabilize and refocus them and let them understand, listen, one player can't beat you. And right now, there's only one player that's on the field. OK, so we just have to lock in and focus on our assignment and do it and be as aggressive as we can. Now, again, there were some things that were off. Right. And I think if anybody watched it on television, you can see it. And so after the game, it was just disappointment in letting another one get away. And you can still hear it, right, around the locker room and in the building today. It's like they really weren't. They weren't 28 to 49 points better than us, and that's what has to stop. Those conversations, talking about Stanford, and talking about Colorado, talking about how close. When the question was asked. I think Cory asked the question about learning how to win. Those are the ingredients, right? It's not getting into the moment and saying, I'm going to throw a haymaker and I'm just going to hope for the best. And I know if I connect, I have the ability to knock him out, but what if I don't connect? And then when I actually throw it and I miss and then I connect and he falls, it's like, oh, he really is human. And so the winning attitude says, listen, I don't care who's in front of me. And that's my mindset as a coach. I don't care who it is sitting in the seat. You're not better than me. You're going to have to work hard to be better than me. I get the circumstance, but it won't happen. So I have to make sure that I build those players up mentally. So the winning starts with the winning mindset. And the mindset says, I'm not going into a game defeated. Because I could care less, right? You're going to have coaches, they can draw X's and O's so eloquently on the board. I mean, they can talk it and they can come up here and trick everybody, right? Oh, my gosh, and this, and he can. And listen, at the end of the day, right, it's the mentality that is installed in the athlete. And they have to execute those assignments. They have to want to play for you, right? And they have to believe in the eloquent equation of the X's and O's. And so when you have those key elements all over the place, then I think, that's where the uncertainty, you don't have the confidence, but then you get into the game and you're like, oh, wait, you saw second half offense is different offense, right? And then you ask yourself why. Well, it's not rocket science. Those players started to believe. It's like, oh man, I'm getting. I mean, the running backs are getting to the second level, into the secondary, and they're running over DBs. You see what I mean? So now you got confidence being built up. Now defensively, we never got into that groove. Now that first drive, think about it. What deflated them? I mean, the almighty Khalil Tate, right? He comes out, first drive, third down. They convert the third down. The next one, you have him in a 3rd and 11. We go bracket, and then we lose contain. Well, again, I ask you, was that Khalil Tate or was that we missed it? We lost contain. And then you could have said, oh, my goodness, the surge of this dynamic and explosive offense. You get on the field again, right, that second series, and they're marching, and then they try to get out of their element, and they throw, and then next thing you know, interception. So I think when you talk about the winning mindset, it's really just understanding football, really understanding what I preach is the game is never over until it's over. So you have to stay engaged, and you have to stay competitive. And so that's the thing that I think needs, and it is, and that's the difference, right? Players they're not allowed to be defeated mentally, right? And see things happen and just say, here we go again. That's not what's allowed here, And so I think they're very much still, I know they're very much still engaged, and they're very eager to go out and again, just prove to themselves one more time that they are good enough.
Every few years back, you had Todd Graham running his version of the whole option read. You had Rich Rod, who I guess brought it with him from a small college. Chip Kelly. How does Arizona State then differ when you attack them from your defense than what you saw this last week against Arizona? Well,
obviously, Arizona State's quarterback is not Khalil Tate, right? He doesn't. Now he will. He does. He will pull it in that zone option, the read option. He'll pull it, but he's not as prone to pull it as much as Khalil Tate. Now, again, you're still going to deal with the different, inside zone, outside zone, the stretch, and the read options, but it's not the triple threat, right? It's not that. This quarterback actually can drop back and he can throw as well. So now this is more of a game it's a defensive game that's going to be more complete, right? To where now we got to stop the run, but we also have to defense the pass because, like I said, they have some weapons out there outside with N'Keal Harry and crew. So.
Cory, you talked about just making hard suggestions and as far as going forward with the defense. I mean, is this just in the week of leading up to practice as far as scheme design? Will you do anything differently on game day? How will that look, do you think?
So there are ways to be able to do things like that without doing things like that. Let's just say that this game will be player execution. The players will be able to line up, and they will be able to play. So that'll be, because I don't know what you saw or what it looked like I said, during the telecast, but what I saw was we weren't lined up. We weren't ready a lot of times. And sometimes a lot, or what we may consider to be not too much, may be a lot for others. And that's kind of what I was saying, when sometimes a coach can, want to put everybody in the perfect position. Sometimes there's no such thing as the perfect position. Sometimes you need to just let players line up and play. And so those are the details that will not go unnoticed. And like I said, when you look at Stanford, you look at that game plan was not very complex. And, you have to allow players to get into a groove. You have to allow them to be comfortable. And because they have to buy in. Okay, and as a player, especially at this level, right? As a player, you don't want to be on the field thinking. I know I wouldn't want to think a lot, and have to run around, have the lactic acid build up in my body, and have to go out and bang down in and down out. So you have to allow players to get into the game, and that's what we will do better as a defensive staff. And then that's what I meant. Our players deserve better, because I saw what everyone else saw, from the sideline, as far as how we matched up with Arizona. And no way. Love you, Rich Rod. It was nice meeting you, but, and you've done a great job, but, I got to give my soldiers a fighting chance as well.
You've talked about having simplified things over the past few weeks in the Stanford game plan. Were things a little more complicated as far as defensive scheming than that? Maybe.
Well, and I'm not going to say complex, as I will say effective. Right? I'm going to say less effective. So we need to do things that are effective, and we will. You just don't, like I said, you just simplify some things and keep it basic. And allow the boys to line up and play.
Two last things. One, for Senior Day, with that coming up, do you do anything unique this week for the seniors, given that it'll be their last home game? And two, if you could address just Christian Wallace and him getting his release and why maybe things didn't quite work out for him here.
Well, even just, again, the seniors, they'll still go about their same, ceremonial things that they do on Senior Day, the same things off the field, with the coaches at the coach's house. And, to Christian Wallace, that's still uncertain, right? You just know that there are some things that that may go on in the life of young student athletes that, we may not all understand. And but it makes sense to Christian Wallace, and for me, it makes sense to me. It's more than just about football, and that's why I said I'm here for more than football, and so are these players. So when things in life happen, when life happens, then again, it's a delicate situation, and so it's not about the football with Christian Wallace. I'll just say that I'm not going to speak on those things. But again, this life that we live it's bigger than football, and we have to be sensitive to that. As a staff and just period as a community for Christian Wallace. If anything, you support him. Because I don't know what I would do in that situation. It'd be tough. So.